Today, we're talking about love and why it sometimes hurts. Is it meant to hurt? Is something wrong when it does? How do I handle it? How am I meant to deal with things? Why does it seem as though love hurts? Am I misunderstanding what love is? What needs to shift for me? That's what we're taking a look at. Okay. Why is it that love is painful? So many people talk about love being painful. Is it really love when it feels that way? Where could I possibly be missing the plot altogether? Right. Now, every part of our being instinctively knows how to release pain. It's a natural thing. When you knock your arm or you hurt yourself, your body knows how to release and let go of the pain. It is automatic for us to experience contrast, to experience the impact of an event or of a situation or a circumstance, to assess what it means to us, and then to release what doesn't feel good. That's natural to us. That's automatic. It's when we hold on to the pain, when we resist accepting the natural aspect of what is happening, when we push against it, that we hold on to a situation, and that's what results in suffering. So suffering is not natural. Experiencing pain, experiencing contrast, not liking the experience of something, establishing that that doesn't feel good, I don't like it, that's natural, that's normal. Holding on to the event, holding on to the experience, because you're wanting to beat against the drum to change it somehow. You're wanting to change what happened. You're wanting to change the experience. That's what results in suffering. Remember, every moment we become more, and we're moving into the next moment of our lives. We can't go back to yesterday, to what happened yesterday, to something that someone said to us yesterday, to something that our partner did yesterday that we would have preferred to be different or to be otherwise, and change it. And that's often what we try and do in relationships. We look at a situation or a scenario, and that experience should have given us the answers that we need as to whether or not we still want to be there, whether or not that is a perspective we want to take on the subject, or make a different choice. But many times we don't want to make a different choice. We still want to be there. We still want to will a different result from our person. We still want to will a different outcome. And that's often what results in our suffering. Acceptance and letting go are the two keys to releasing pain. Whether it's a painful perspective in a relationship, maybe it's just the way that you're looking at a situation that's causing you pain, or whether it is a painful event and situation, maybe something that your person did has caused you pain and has given you clarity as to whether or not this is still the relationship and situation that you want to be in. But you don't want to accept it, and you don't want to let it go. So you hold on to it, and that's what results in suffering. Because it's like being cut by a knife, experiencing the pain, you're bleeding, but you don't want to move away from the knife, and you're hoping that next time it won't actually tear the skin. It doesn't make sense, does it? But that's often what we do in relationships. Okay. So when you're in a chronic state of emotional suffering, every other feeling goes numb and leaves you empty, right? What do I mean by that? When you are in a long-term state of suffering, you're in the same situation, you're doing the same things that contribute to your suffering. It's become a chronic state of heartache, of mental despair, of emotional chaos. You're still there hoping that something miraculously is going to change. eventually every other part of you goes numb. Now, sometimes this is our state when we're in a relationship, and sometimes this is our state when we're not in a relationship. We feel the emptiness or the lack of having someone to validate us, to love us, to assure us, to celebrate our day-to-day lives with us, and that becomes a point of contempt for us, a point of pain, a point of suffering. Well, I'm not good enough, maybe I'm not attractive, maybe I don't deserve someone. Whatever it may be for you, when you find yourself not processing an experience in a way that serves you and not releasing it, it becomes a part of your suffering. So when you hold on to emotional pain, a subject that activates pain within you, it eventually becomes suffering, and the rest of you becomes numb. And this is when we find ourselves bumping into relationships, bumping into situations where most of us have gone numb. Most of who we are has gone numb. All we want is to have that pain eased, and we believe that someone else is going to ease it for us. So many people ask this question, and you might be one of them. You might be asking or wondering, well, why is it that when I meet someone, they're open to receiving what it is I'm willing to give? They seem to want the same thing I want. They seem to be ready for a relationship. But then as time goes by, I realize that they don't have much to give. And then they act as though, well, I should know that. Why am I upset that they don't have much to give? There are many people in the world, and sometimes that people is us. It's easier to see when you're at the receiving end of something, that have been in a chronic state of emotional pain. It's become a perpetual state of suffering. And the belief attached to that is that when I meet the right person, the right experience, the right circumstance, then I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be whole. And we move into situations when most of us has gone numb, hoping that that person is going to be the activation of the fullness of who we are, the joy, the happiness. So what I mean by this very, very basically is when you're in a perpetual state of suffering, then eventually the other parts of you go numb. So you don't feel the depth of your love. You don't feel your joy. You don't feel your passion. You don't feel your excitement, because you have already allocated the reason for your suffering to a particular shortage in your life, whether that's a lover or relationship or something else. And you believe that the only way that you will feel again is when you have that partner, when you have that person in your life. And this is what brings me to the reason why we do attract and let in relationships that resemble love when they're really an illusion. And then they become painful because they're not meeting our needs. And we say love hurts when love never does. Love never hurts and love never asks. Love is the eternal giver, eternally giving us more of ourselves. Even the more that doesn't feel comfortable, but that is going to serve us in our growth and our evolution. We have a romantic obsession. The belief that Prince Charming or the princess, whatever, is going to come along, love us unconditionally, and suddenly all of our problems, all of the emptiness, all of the parts of us that have gone numb will awaken, and we will be full and we will be whole again. And we place such a great expectation on this person that's going to come into our lives, who is very possibly in the very same boat, hoping that you would do the same for them. And that's why we end up in situations where we are disappointed and we disappoint others. So romantic obsession can feel like a soothing salve, an ointment on a festering wound, or a cool breeze when we are drying out in the desert, in the hot sun, or a cool drink when we're thirsting, our favorite meal when we're hungry. So it's really the obsession around romance can feel that way for us when we felt starved of love, starved of validation, starved of comfort for a really long time, because we've instead of learning how to give that to ourselves. Welcome to those of you who are joining. Please keep in mind that you are welcome to ask questions. This should be an interactive talk. And if you'd like to get a personal reading, one question reading, I'm happy to channel the answer for you. So just comment below with your question. Maybe you've had a question pop up of late with regards to your relationship and you'd like to get answers from Spirit. You're welcome to comment below. Okay, so as I was saying, when you have spent your focus on what is missing in your life, which is a partner, in those periods of absence when you didn't have someone, instead of tending to the relationship with yourself, which is always enough, you can come to believe that I'm unhappy because I don't have someone, and when I meet someone, they are going to love me back into wholeness. They will be that soothing drink to quench my thirst, or that soothing ointment on the wounds, that I carry because of the loss and the loneliness and the deep sense of abandonment. And 9 times out of 10, because that's where you are, you're going to attract someone that is hoping for the very same thing from you. But they're not equipped to give it to you because they've not been giving it to themselves, and you're not equipped to give it to them because you're so busy waiting to receive from them, to have it given to you by them. And this is what leads to disappointment, but to the obsession, the romantic obsession that if only I show this person that I'm worthy, if only I show them that I am worthy of this love, that eventually they're going to give it to me, that they are going to be that someone that's going to make my wounds better, that's going to fill the emptiness in my life. And it never works that way, because when you have two people coming into one another's energy, both people with an empty cup, because they've believed that someone else is going to come and fill this cup for me. They've not been taught, or they have not opened their minds up to the fact that maybe this is my cup to fill, and I'm the only person that can fill it. You have two people coming starved, empty, hoping that the other person is going to fill whatever is empty, whatever is void within them, and you end up with two people who are resentful towards one another, who are disappointed by the connection, and who feels as though they've been betrayed. Welcome, guys. Welcome to this live talk. We're looking at why love sometimes hurts. Is that love? Could we be missing something? Okay, is it our perspective? What is it that we're missing out on? Is love supposed to hurt, or is it an illusion? Love is the pure vibrational energy that is ever giving, that reveals to you what might be holding you apart from love. But it is never painful. It is either our perspective, the way that we're looking at a situation in our relationship, that is causing us pain, and therefore that perpetual thought and belief eventually becoming suffering for us, or we're in a situation that is not love, but we don't want to accept it because we want this to be that relationship that we are longing for, that we are hoping for. All right. Falling in love with another person can quickly turn into a vortex of self-abandonment. It can. Especially if you did that thing that I mentioned before, where whilst you were waiting to attract someone into your experience, to attract someone that you can share love with, to attract someone that you can enjoy, instead of tending to your own cup, instead of mating with your own soul, instead of allowing where you are to be enough, you were chronically aware of the absence of that person, of that love, seeing it from the perspective of lack, seeing yourself as chronically empty, in a state of loneliness and suffering. then when you do attract someone, you are going to attract someone that was doing the very same thing. Being in the vibration of the victim instead of enjoying the present and knowing that you are enough and learning how to fill your own cup. That is when we fall in love with another person, the idea of them, because this is the person that's come along and this person seems to want the same things that I want. And suddenly, very quickly, we attach all of our beliefs, all of the concepts we have around what the ideal person will be, and we stick it onto this partner. And we see them in the way that we want to see them as opposed to what they are truly revealing to us. Because we are in such a desperate state. We are so hungry. And we are so thirsty to have this void filled that we see what we want to see. And quickly we find ourselves in the cycle of self-abandonment, where someone shows us who they are and we ignore it because we don't want to see it, where we compromise and overcompensate to make the relationship work and to make the relationship last, when it's clearly not a match to what it is we've asked the universe for. Where we put someone else's needs and feelings before our own. We put someone else's well-being before our own because we're hoping that that will trigger them into understanding how precious we are and how much of a giver we are and how good we are. But my dear, when you activate the relationship of self-abandonment with the person in the mirror for the sake of someone else, so that they can learn how valuable you are and maybe be willing to give you the love that you desire and deserve, the only thing that you are becoming more and more of a match to is betrayal and abandonment. And that person will eventually abandon you, which will lead to pain. And because you were so giving, and because you were self-sacrificing for this person, it'll be hard for you to accept that this relationship was never a match to me. And then you'll hold on to the subject of it, hoping to will a different outcome. Maybe if I give this relationship another chance, my person would have learned their lesson and we'll have a different outcome. Maybe if I give it another chance, this time I can do things in a slightly different way and I'll have a different outcome. You're holding on to a painful situation, hoping for a different outcome. But when you hold on to pain, it becomes suffering. And the reason why we self-abandon in these connections is because it's a desperate attempt to feel real again. Many people will say, when you're looking at a relationship from the outside, it's easy to see your friends making these mistakes. And you'll say things like, but it's obvious that this is not healthy. It's obvious that this is not what he or she wants. Why is it that they're holding on to this? This is clearly not going anywhere. It's not what they've asked for. It's not what they want. Why are they trying to make it fit? Why are they so desperate to make this fit? As I said earlier on, when you're in a chronic state of emotional pain, the rest of you goes numb. And eventually, after a long period of time, this becomes depression. It's harder for you to feel. It's harder for you to be present with the joy, to be present with the enjoyment and the satisfaction of your day-to-day life. And this is what leads to the belief that if only I meet that person that I can love and that can love me, I will feel again. I will know that I am real. I will be validated. So when you attract someone into your experience that is a match to your lacking, that is a match to your discomfort, that is a match to your loneliness, because that's all you can attract when you are there. Welcome, guys. Nice to have you. And welcome. I hope you enjoyed this talk. It is meant to be interactive. We're talking about why, in our experience, sometimes love hurts. Please ask questions, comment with questions if you have any. And if you'd like a personal reading, one question reading, you're welcome to contact with me. comment, with that, and I will do a channeled reading for you. So, as I said earlier on, the reason why we desperately hold on to these relationships that are not a match to what we want, but a match to what we've been whilst we were by ourselves, not fully enjoying the time with ourselves, not mating with our souls when we don't have a partner, but feeling like something might be wrong with us. That's why I'm single. Why am I not attracting someone? I'm so lonely. And if only I attract someone, I will be happy, I will feel again. The reason why our friends and family members hold on to these connections desperately, even though they are obviously not a match to their desires, to what it is they've asked the universe for, is because they're finally feeling something. So you know how some children, how they say that we shouldn't we shouldn't have these big reactions to our children when they do bad things, because then they learn that, when I do this, I get a response. I'm getting energy, and I want this loved one's energy. I want my mom or my dad's energy. So they learn that if I throw a tantrum or if I create drama, I'm going to get energy. Sometimes in relationship, it's the same thing. We want the energy. We think we want someone's time. We think we want a partner that's going to give us time. We think we want a lover that's going to give us their time. What we really want is energy. That's what we want. We want presence. And so the same way that a child can calibrate to the relationship between drama and presence and energy, we can calibrate to that too in relationships. That's why often we find ourselves in an unhealthy, toxic relationship. But it's better than nothing. At least I have a relationship. At least I have someone willing to have these fights with me. At least I have someone willing to do this dance with me, whether it is breaking up and making up all the time, whether it is constantly rehashing the same issues, the same conversation over and over. At least I have someone that's willing to do that with me, because I can feel. And sometimes we become addicted to the pain. Sometimes we become addicted to that emotional roller coaster, especially when we've experienced trauma in childhood that we've not been able to heal and transcend. Life becomes all about the person. And when if you are one of those people that find yourself in relationships, constantly being the person that loses yourself in the relationship, all of your focus becomes about them. All of your focus is on what makes them happy. Hello, Tracy Mack. I've become addicted to the pain. Yes, you do. You calibrate to the pain. And as I say, self-abandonment is one of the keys. You know that you are in a toxic situation. You are in a toxic cycle, whether you're moving from one relationship to the next, or whether you are stuck in a cycle in the same relationship. When you have a habit of self-abandonment, and one of the key ways is that you do make them your primary focus. And you know what? When we do that, when we find ourselves in that place where we are reliving our trauma, we're reliving our abandonment, we're reliving our fear, we can see ourselves doing it because we actually attract partners that we believe are not perfect, that are broken, because we want them to feel loved and accepted the way that we want someone to love and accept us. So we embrace people with issues, hoping that we can love them enough that we can love them into wholeness. And so we attract partners that are not worthy of us. And I know this sounds terrible, because how can we say someone else is not worthy of it? Yes, everybody's worthy of love. But what I mean is, you know what you give in a relationship. But instead of letting someone into your life that has the capacity to give you what you give in a relationship. You rather take someone in that is self-centered, that has so many issues, that is so wounded, that they've got nothing to give, they have nothing but excuses, and you're constantly trying to fix them and constantly trying to fix their problems and constantly trying to love them into wholeness. It's not hard to see, because we've all found ourselves in a situation where we have a really great guy that would love an opportunity to love us and to be in a relationship with us, and we constantly go for those people who are broken, who actually say to us, I'm a mess. This is who I am. And we open our arms to them and say, well, come to me, I'll love you. But when we get nothing but mess from them, we ask the universe, well, what the hell is happening? How can you expect anything other than what this person is showing you and telling you they are? The universe wants to give you more, but you've got to be in a place where you can let it in. And the reason why it's easier for you to let in somebody that is a mess, that is broken, and that is comfortable with being a mess, and that likes to create more and more mess, as opposed to someone that would love and honor you in the way that you are wanting to love and honor someone else, is because you're a match to the mess. How are you a match to it? Not because you're a bad person or because you're not the person giving good love, because that's what you are in the relationship with yourself. You're messy in your relationship with yourself. That's the only reason why we would allow somebody into our space that is potentially harmful and dangerous. Your relationship with yourself trumps the relationship with anybody else. The relationship with yourself creates the vibration that you send out into the universe, and everybody that matches that vibration in the relationship with yourself, that's what you're going to attract. So therefore, when you have a habit of self-abandonment, you're going to attract situations in which you will be abandoned. You will attract a relationship in which you will be abandoned. Your world begins to crumble as you fade into the background of your reality. Why? Why is it that I find myself in relationships where I feel like my world begins to crumble? The more I'm trying to uplift and to build this other person, my world seems to be crumbling. It happens every time I'm in a relationship. Do you know why this happens? Because you constantly step into the role of the supporting act. That in itself is wonky if you understand the laws of the universe. You are the main character in your world. And when you take the supporting role in a story or a movie or a script that should be your life, automatically things become wonky. You cannot place the person that you enter into a relationship with. And for some of us, we're not even in relationships with these people. We're just vibing, or you just have a connection. But you're automatically putting this person as the main character in your world. You're putting them on a pedestal and you're standing in the shadows. And I don't know what we think we're going to achieve when we do that. Because real love never asks you to abandon yourself or to take a supporting role in the reality that is your world, that is your life. You are the creator of your reality. You are the director of this thing that you call your life. And every person that comes into it, they're a symbol, they're a projection of what you're creating in your life, in your world. So when you take a supporting role to someone that is supposed to come into your life and be symbolic of the relationship that you have, then you're saying to the universe, I'm not ready to be seen. I'm not ready to be worthy. I'm not ready to be adored and uplifted in my life, in my world. I'm still wanting to do that for other people because I don't believe I'm worthy. When you are playing the supporting role in your relationship, which means think about actors, think about a movie. You have the main actor and then you have the supporting role that makes the actor look good. If you're not in a relationship where you can stand tall without fear that you are going to make your person look bad, where you have to shrink, where you have to become small in order for them to feel okay, in order for them to be okay, then you're playing the supporting acting role in your relationship, in your own life. And that will lead to betrayal because you're betraying yourself. People around you can see how you fade away when you're in this kind of relationship, because you become smaller and smaller the longer that you are with this person. You find yourself doing things and then going home and being like, and feeling terrible, feeling contempt and loathing yourself because you can't believe you did that. I can't believe I did that in this relationship. I can't believe I did that to me. I can't believe that I allowed myself to be treated in that way. When you ask those questions and when you find yourself constantly being in the shadow of somebody else who is not holding a spotlight on you, who's not clapping for you, you're constantly cheering them, you're constantly supporting them in their goals and in what makes them happy. But when it's time for you, when you have to do these things, you're doing it alone. You don't have the same support. That's an indication that you're not in a real loving relationship. This is not really love. This is an illusion of it. So you might ask, well, why would I be in a situation what is it about me that I'm not letting in real love? Is it because I'm not deserving of it? Is it because I'm not worthy? No. You are worthy. It's because you're still playing roles in relationships and connections that say to the universe, you don't believe that you deserve the more that is meant for you. That you still want to fix other people and you still want to make other people feel loved because you're not ready to let in love yet. You have to stop when you find yourself in this kind of relationship where the things that I've described here, or connections where the things that I've described here seems to be your norm every time you're in a connection, then you need to take a step back, because you're not calibrated to the kind of relationship that you need and that you deserve, that you want. And you need to take a step back and you need to mate with your own soul and you need to work on the relationship with yourself. Because that's the only place you hold power. That's the only place you're going to be able to change anything. Because it doesn't matter how many different partners you try and attract, they're all going to do the same thing. They're going to be the same thing. Why? Because they're an answer to your vibrational calling. And your vibrational calling is, I'm not good enough. I'm not yet worthy because I'm still expecting someone else to validate me. I'm happier to love somebody else and to put myself on the back burner. You see? You have all of the power in the relationship with yourself. And that's what you want to do. Nobody will be able to. There are many people that love you and they watch us and they see us in these situations, and often we talk to our friends about it and they talk to us about their situations, but you cannot give advice to someone like this because you're afraid that they're going to feel that you don't support them. And a lot of friends are, or they feel like, well, Elif's just going to do the same thing anyway, because this is what Elif always does. She abandons her friends when she's in a relationship. The moment someone comes into her life, then she abandons her friends. She doesn't keep dates. She doesn't check in with her friends. She doesn't keep promises because her life is all about this new person that she's seeing. If that is you, you're on a path where you are holding the illusion of what love is so active that you can't let real love in. If love expects you, if being with someone means that you have to abandon the people that are always there for you, that support you, it's not love. If love expects you to compromise your values, to compromise treating yourself well, and in order to make them a priority, it's not love. If love expects you to suddenly give up all of your hobbies and all of the goals that you put in place so that you can fit into their life and to do what they like to do, it's not love. If you're playing a supporting role and constantly hiding in the shadows so that you don't overshadow your person, it's not love. It's an illusion that you are holding active, and the universe is yielding to you and showing you the dysfunction that is active in the relationship with yourself through showing you the dysfunction in your connection. So every connection that comes into your life is going to be one that's going to highlight the dysfunction in relationships in order to highlight the dysfunction that exists in the relationship with yourself. When you find yourself in a situation where you are becoming smaller and smaller and smaller, and the things that used to be a priority for you are suddenly just put on a back burner, I won't compromise. Tracy Max says, I won't compromise any longer. How? Let's see. I just want to see that. How does one begin working on that relationship with self? I'm isolating, so I have the time. Okay. How does one begin to work on that relationship with self? Good question. I'm going to give you a few ways that you can just begin your process. Because when you find yourself becoming smaller and smaller and shrinking every time that you're in a relationship, it means that you don't have strong, clear self-concepts. That is why you're getting pulled into and drawn into whatever's happening with whoever you're seeing. And even though you're shrinking and you're becoming smaller and smaller, you find every reason or excuse to make the relationship work. Okay, so those are some of the ways that you know that you have a toxic relationship cycle going. You're holding the illusion of love active as opposed to letting in real love. That's why it feels painful, and that's what results in suffering. So if you want to begin to work on the relationship with yourself, I've got a few questions that you can write down and you can ask yourself. And I would advise that that you write them down, and every time that you find yourself wanting to move into some sort of connection, you ask these questions to see where you are. Have I clicked back into the cycle? Am I repeating it? Or have I moved beyond it? How do you know if you're holding the illusion? Before I answer your question, Tracy, I'm just going to give you some ways, some questions that you can ask yourself to help you to know if you're keeping the illusion of love active, or if you're at a place where you can actually attract and let in, manifest real love. Am I the main character in my story? Okay. Or has this person become my priority? Am I constantly checking to see where they are, whether they've messaged me, whether they're calling, whether they've done the right thing? Am I constantly looking to see where I am in relation to this person? Then you're not the main character in your story, because they've become your focus. Am I the person that decides how my day is going to look, how I'm going to spend my day, or does it depend on what this person says? I'm going to see if they make plans with me first before I make my own plans. Am I the main character in my story? Or am I focusing on what this person is or isn't doing to establish whether I am in a good place or not? Okay, and then I want to give you, once you've answered this, if you've answered this as yes, I am the main character in my story, then you know that you are in a place where the relationship with yourself is on solid ground. Because the life that you've created and all the blessings that exist in your life are not dependent on a person that you're seeing. There's so much that you can bask in. There's so much that you can do that should bring you joy, regardless of whether or not that person messaged you or called you or said good morning. If your answer is no, this person's become my focus. If this person doesn't invite me out and goes out with friends and I feel very hurt, then I'm upset for the evening. So this person has the power to contribute to my happiness or my unhappiness. The conditions around this person determines whether I'm happy or not. Okay, those are all the different ways that you can ask the questions to establish whether or not this person's become a priority over and above you and the relationship with yourself. If so, then one of the things that you can begin to do is you can script. You can begin by rewriting your story and making yourself the main character. So you can script in the morning, and you can set an intention for your day. So for example, if it's the weekend, and you can sit down, you do your meditation, and then you take your journal out or your writing pad, and you can script your expectations for the day. So you can tell your story as to how your day is going to unfold for you based on what you would like to do in that day. And you will then put your hobbies and your favorite things to do. So if you normally go and have coffee with a friend when you're single, then you probably want to put that in your script. Today, I'd like to go and have coffee with my best friend. She's probably available. She's normally not doing anything, or maybe she's not available, but I'm going to touch base with her and see if we can do something together. I enjoy going for walks on the beach, and then I enjoy working on my project or doing my this or doing my that. And then in the evening, I like to go to my favorite place and go and have dinner. Whatever it is that you normally do. And it doesn't mean that your day has to work out exactly the way that you want, but what is it that you would do with your time if this person wasn't a factor? So even when you're by yourself, what is it that you would do with your time if you weren't sitting there sulking or grieving something negative that's just happened in your relationship? Hello everyone, welcome to this talk. We're taking a look at why we find ourselves in situations where love sometimes hurts. You're welcome to comment with any questions that you may have. Good morning, BFFs. Good morning. Welcome. So, as I said, if you find yourself playing second fiddle whenever you're in a connection, making someone else your priority, making them your excuse for being happy or sad, then this is an exercise that you can do. Set aside for the next month. Every morning you're going to script. You're going to write your intentions for your day. And let's say it's a school day, or let's say it's a work day. How is it that you would spend your morning if nobody else was a factor? What is it that you have available to you to have the best day that you can have? Script your day. I'm going to have breakfast in the morning. I'm going to go for a run, and I'm going to enjoy the run, and include feeling words and write the story and say, and I love it when I look up at the sky, the sun is always shining on my skin. I like the feeling of that. I like the birds overhead. And then I've got work this afternoon. I love spending time with my clients. I love doing what I do. These are my favorite things about what I do. And today I just want to be fully present with that. Today I want to enjoy what I do. So script your day and write it out. Tell the story of how your day is going to unfold, what you plan to do, and how your day is going to unfold, and how you plan to make the most of your day, regardless of whether it happens or not. And I promise you that it will. Most of those things will. But you see, you're shifting your focus away from making a relationship your primary focus and your source of happiness or sadness. You're taking your power and you're putting it back where it belongs. and you are basking in the beautiful life that you have created, and the relationship with creation, and relationships in your life that matter, that are here, but that we so often neglect just because we have a person. We overlook the things that we can appreciate just because we now have this relationship. So that's one of the processes that I would recommend you do, Tracy. Okay. Now, question number 2 that you can ask yourself. What is it that, what are some of the questions you can ask yourself to know if you're attracting a relationship that is finally a match to real love and to your desires, or if you're holding an illusion active? You're welcome, guys. Because sometimes we hold the illusion of love active, and that's what culminates in pain and suffering. Or are we a match to letting in real love? So question number 2 that you can ask yourself to know where you are is, if he or she, the person that you are connecting with, in a relationship with, or whatever, if they disappear, what is left? And is what is left enough? If I'm in a situation with someone, and I'm working on this connection, and I'm working on this relationship, if I erase them, because remember, this is your story, this is your movie. If you take them out of the script, if you take the character that is John or Susan or Claire or Cliff or Joseph, whoever the person is, if you take their character out of the equation, and it's just you and your life, is it enough? Because if it's not, you're in a dangerous place. And I mean, be really honest with yourself. Is it enough? Do I still feel, do I still feel love? Do I still feel appreciation? Do I still feel satisfaction with the life that I've created, that I see is my reality, minus this person? And if the thought of that stirs within you insecurity, sadness, loss, an emptiness, then you have work to do. You're not a match to a real soulmate. You're not a match to someone that's going to come into your life with nothing but love and light, with a cup brimming over, overflowing with love, that whatever flows out of them flows into you and onto you in a satisfying way. And if your answer to this is no, it's not, I don't see me and my life being enough without someone in it, without a partner, without a lover, or without someone's attention. I feel that it's not enough. I feel empty. I feel void. Then what you want to do is you want to work on self-concepts. Just want to answer a question. Can you tell me what my guides need me to focus on? Sorry, let's see. Can you tell me what my guides need me to focus on at this time? I find it difficult to connect with them or hear them. Okay, I'm going to answer that question for you. But I'm going to give you an idea of what the process is that you want to do if you find that you are not enough, minus a lover, minus this person that's mistreating you, minus this person that is not giving you what you feel you deserve. If you erase them from the story or the script that is your reality and your life, if you feel that it feels empty, the idea of that feels empty, then you want to work on your self-concepts and your self-worth. And you want to work on your belly chakra. That's the sacral chakra. Okay, so if you can relate to question number 2, and you being left with the feeling that you are void and empty and feeling insecure and anxious about the idea of not having someone in your life, not having this person in your life, not having someone to love, then spirit, what I pick up is that this goes all the way back into your childhood trauma, possibly neglect and abandonment, definitely, but very possibly some sexual assault and trauma, self-worth issues. and you want to work on your self-concepts here more than anything else. I'm sure most of us who have experienced that sort of thing, abuse in childhood, we've gone for therapy. And if you haven't yet, I recommend that you do. You either find a spiritual healer, a spiritual intuitive coach to help you to work through these things. If therapy is something that makes more sense to you, go ahead and do that. But what you absolutely want to include into your day-to-day life is positive self-concepts. And you can find loads of them on YouTube. You can work on some of those with an intuitive. Very often with my clients, I do a channeled healing for them, where I include self-concepts that they listen to every day. And that helps to reprogram their mind, and it helps them to recalibrate on the subject. Okay, so that's definitely something you want to do there. Before I move on to the next question, I'm just going to answer the question that BFFs asked. Asking guides, what is it that this person needs to work on at this time? What is it that they are not hearing? What is the guidance that they are receiving that they are not hearing? Where should this person's focus be? Thank you, Spirit. Any guidance for this person? Spirit says there are things that are falling apart. Some softly, some making a loud bang. There are some things that have been seems as though it's been solid for a long time, and now suddenly it's changing and it feels like it's falling apart. Let it fall. It is for your own good. Don't try and control it. Don't try and hold anything together. Don't try and glue it back together. Don't try and fix it. Exhale and say, thank you, Spirit. I know you've got my back. Okay. I know you've got my back. And then Spirit is saying you want to focus in on the areas of your life that offer you stability, a sense of stability, where you have a strong energetic relationship and the vibration of stability is active. You want to focus on the areas that you've built, okay? Your work, your business, your career, your purpose, where you've built a great sense of stability and security. You did that. Spirit is saying, keep your attention there. Because this is a time for you to focus on letting in more of your wealth, letting in more of that stability, and creating space for your independence more and more. Independent thought, which means your thoughts on how you think and how you perceive and how you view the world is not influenced by what anybody else is doing or what anybody else is saying. You have to maintain your center, ground yourself, and maintain your focus on your own stability and on your connection to what you've built and on your connection to your relationship with money and the well-being and the abundance that Spirit is wanting to bring through to you right now. Okay, so that's the answer to your question. I hope that resonates and it makes sense to you and that it helps. But Spirit is showing me that for you, there is something coming up in the new year that is going to be very exciting. That's going to be, it's something that you've been waiting for a really long time. And Spirit is providing you with the finances, the money, and the stability financially to support that in whichever way you want in the new year. Okay, so now it's your time to learn to be open, to be receptive, and to let in all the goodness that the universe is wanting to give you by focusing where your stability already resides, giving your energy and your appreciation there. Okay, that's your message. That's the answer to your question, BFF. So That's exciting. Very, very good. I do see that it's something you've been waiting for a long time. In fact, it's something you forgot you put into your vortex. That's materializing in the new year. You're manifesting that. And when it happens, you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I forgot that this was something I wanted a really long time. And a while ago, I haven't thought about it for a while. And here it is. Okay. Back to the topic. How is it that you know that you are possibly holding an illusion of what love is active and therefore constantly perpetuating the relationship, a painful relationship and a relationship of suffering? Question number 3 that you want to ask yourself is this what I would consider a real relationship if I were to be looking at it from a distance based on what I consider to be a real relationship? So, for example, make a list of the characteristics of a relationship, a healthy, real relationship. And then look at what it is you have and see if it matches that. Very, very simple. And if you're finding that the connections and the relationships that you are attracting and holding active in your life are nothing like that which you've put down, which you've deliberately written down in your journal, it holds none of those characteristics active, then it means that you are holding an illusion active, but you do not want to, when you're in it, you're not seeing it for what it is because you don't want to, because you either don't want to be alone or whatever the case may be. And if this is something that you do, then a process that you want to do, as I say, is you want to write down what you consider to be the characteristics of a healthy, abundant, fulfilling, soulful relationship. And in each of those characteristics, I want you to highlight the emotion that those characteristics ignite within you, whether it's feeling secure, whether it's feeling joy, whether it's feeling elation. You write down the emotion next to those characteristics and you highlight them. And every day you choose a different emotion from your list of characteristics, and you set an intention. Today, the first characteristic on my list of a healthy, soulful relationship for me, so this is me, Elif, let me give you an example, is that I am free to be whoever I need to be, and my person loves and supports me regardless. To me, the feeling that comes up there is freedom. So I will highlight freedom, and on day 1, I will say, today I set an intention to hold freedom active in my vibration, to give other people the freedom to be who they need to be, and to allow myself to be whatever I need to be. So how does that look? Whatever I feel, I don't judge it. I don't push against it. I don't try and fix it. I embrace it and I accept it. I allow it to flow through me. If I want to wear a particular outfit, I don't consider whether or not it's suitable to everybody else. I'm comfortable. I like it. I'm giving myself the freedom to love me, to be kind to me, to be whatever I need to be. If I want to have a conversation, I consider what it is I'm wanting to say that honors me, not limiting myself or editing my words because I'm afraid that other people don't approve of it. I'm free to be me and to express myself in the ways that I want. And I give other people the permission to do the same, which means I set an intention and I know that I'm not going to judge anyone else. However anyone shows up in my space, I'm going to choose to love and appreciate them, to see the value of it, to see how free they are, and to rejoice them. Do you understand what I mean? Are you getting an idea of this process? So that's what I'd advise you do if number 3 is something that you recognize is you quite often in a relationship. Number 4, the question that you want to ask yourself is so what you want to do is you want to do an inventory of the give and take in your relationship. So if you're in a relationship right now that you are not sure is a healthy one, am I doing what I've always done? Am I holding on to the illusion of love? Or is this really love? Is you want to do an inventory of the give and take in the relationship. Okay? And then what do you value in the relationship, and how many aspects in the give and take are fulfilled based on what you value. Many of us find ourselves in situations where the person that we're with does nothing but take. And it completely goes against our value system. What is that we value in a relationship? Why would I attract a relationship? Because it has aspects that I really value. And if you're in a situation where what you receive from your person does not really hold great value in your experience, then maybe you're in a situation that is dishonoring of you. Number 5, is being in the relationship a method or a means of self-honor or betrayal? Simple question. When I look at the relationship that I'm in, how I'm treated, what I do, what I find myself doing, what I find myself not doing, is this a means? Am I using this relationship as a means to honor myself or dishonor me? And that's a pretty straightforward one. Beloved, letting love into our lives is the easiest thing to do. And I know that it doesn't seem that way. It is the most natural thing. It is the easiest thing to do because it is the basis of who we are as a source being. But when we are not connected to ourselves, when the relationship with ourselves has nothing but distance and segregation and disconnect, we cannot. That's when it feels like love is really hard to attract and to let in. If you're serious about working on your relationship with yourself, about becoming a match to the love that you deserve, what I would do if I was standing in your shoes is I would get a coach. I would get somebody that can help me intuitively, someone that has the capacity to read the energy, to understand the vibration of the different types of relationship dynamics that come into our experience, and to guide me practically through a day-to-day process so that I can reconnect reconnect and individuate, the relationship with myself. Bring it into harmony. When you do that, love will no longer be this thing that is so far out of your reach, that you're desperately trying to obtain, that you have to empty yourself for and still find yourself absent of it. Get an intuitive spiritual life coach to help you. Because if love is absent in that area, it is a clear indication that there are other relationships around you that suffer as well, that you're just not getting the most out of. If you would like, if you don't know anyone, or you're not already working with a coach, you're welcome to contact me. I do this with my clients all the time, and I would be honored to help you on your journey, because it's not meant to be painful. We're not meant to suffer. And love most definitely does not ask us to do that to be worthy of it. Because love is not something that is separate from you. You are the love. But there is so much of self that you are not letting in, and it is unknowing. And if you can learn how to let in the parts of you that is love, to let in the fullness of yourself, life and the world around you will easily mimic that, follow that, and be that. I hope you guys enjoyed this talk, and I hope that it's been beneficial to you. Simple, straight to the point. The only reason why we hold an illusion of love active, and why we get stuck in the illusion of this realm, of this world, is because we don't believe that we are worthy of real love. When we finally get to a point where we are calibrated to our self-worth and believe that we are worthy of real love, then we're at a place where we can finally let it in. But having an intellectual concept and being love is two different things. And those are the things that we want to bring together, our beliefs and what we know intellectually, and the beliefs in the recesses and who we are and what we are. We want to bring that into balance, and everything else becomes easy. Thank you for spending time here with me, guys, and thank you for allowing me to share with you. Enjoy the rest of your day, your evening. I'll see you guys next time. Love and light. Until next time.